Okay, now that you've done the fish brush exercise, we're going to move on to our demo donut. So if you open up your layers palette, you can have an explore here to see what is actually achievable in Photoshop with the different brushes. What I want you to do is turn the eyes off all of these layers and just have a bit of fun on the Your Turn layer. We will be creating shadows and highlights and blocking in colours as well. So first thing I want you to do is to drop some colours into the donut. We're going to use the paint bucket tool to do that. So we come up the top right here, we have our colour swatches. If you want to use some existing colour palettes, you can actually do some research onto different kind of animations that inspire you. So I've collected one here, so this is from Dumb Ways to Die, so I've just pasted that in there by Julian Frost. I'm just going to put that in the corner. So I can now eyedrop out any colours from this animation, this illustration, and put them into my donut. For example, so I for eyedropper, if you select the green here, G for paint bucket, just going to drop that in. I do need to make sure I'm on the right layer, so I've created another layer here by pasting that into the document, which I'll call colour palette. Now back onto Your Turn, I'm going to drop the green in there. Similarly, I'll get this brown that's here. I know these colours will go together really nicely. You can get rid of the black outlines later on, but we'll just stick with them for the moment. Okay, I'm going to eyedrop out this darker shade here. We need to identify where the sun's coming from. In this instance, it'll be the top left. So this will affect the shadows that we put in. So W for magic wand, we need to select the icing here. Next, I'm going to use B for brush. You can select a brush that you want to use. If you go Window Brushes, here is your settings. You can toggle between the two. There's a whole bunch of different settings you can have a bit of an explore with there. Feel free to use lots of different brushes. Apparently Kyle's brushes here, there's over 12,000 different brushes, so there is a lot for you to play with. Alright, I'm going to just pick something really soft, come up here to opacity, reduce it down to 30% so it's a bit see-through, and reduce the flow as well. So the top left-hand corner is where the light is coming from. This colour that I had selected is darker. Alright, let's just make sure I've got the right one. And you're just going to begin to build it up along the bottom right here. Now 30% is very subtle, so it's just doing it quite gradually there. Make the brush a little bit bigger. Just for this exercise, I'll just up that a little bit. Okay, and see that coming in. If I want it to be a bit more distinct, I can just grab a slightly darker shade there. I'm also going to put it inside the mouth area here. And see that form is beginning to develop as I'm adding in our shadows. Now we're going to do our highlight. So I for eyedropper. I'm just going to lighten that a little bit more and come in along the top here. So having the opacity down does make it more subtle, but it also makes it look a little bit more realistic as well. Now another thing that you can do is really add shadows in wherever they would fall on the object, underneath the eyes, under the eyebrows. It's all a good idea. You can have a play with some fun brushes too, so there's some ink splatter brushes as well. So if we come back to our brushes palette. So you can have a little bit of a play with some textures like that as well. There's also the burning and dodging tool. So if you come over to the left, the burning tool will make all your colours darker, so you can see them just exaggerating the tone there. And then you have the dodging tool that will make everything that little bit lighter as well. So that's another option too. So if I just change that over to the dodging tool, you'll see here it's becoming lighter wherever I click.